Straight ahead on CBS19 News at 4, a deadly shooting incident at Fontaine Avenue last night brings out a multi-jurisdictional response. We got the latest on why so many law enforcement agencies were involved.
And new fire safety devices could be installed in your home. We'll tell you how it's meant to keep your family safe. The CBS19 News at 4 starts right now.
Live from the CBS19 News studio, this is CBS19 News at 4, Charlottesville News First.
Good afternoon, I'm Rick Young.
And I'm Carly Haynes. Thank you so much for joining us.
A strong rainstorm blows through the area. Do we have any more coming our way? Big question.
Absolutely. Let's turn now to AJ Willie to ask that question with the first look at your forecast.
Well, I'll be short, no. There's nothing else. Nothing else after this line clears out.
That's
we
good.
still are dealing with a line of heavier showers there, most of our eastern viewing areas. But yeah, once this moves out, which it's moving very quickly, we should start to even clear up through the rest of the evening. Mostly clear skies are expected overnight tonight. Here is your Doppler radar showing that line of heavier rainfall stretching all the way through the eastern parts of Buckingham, Fluvanna, Louisa, Orange, and Culpeper County. There is a severe thunderstorm warning currently in effect for Culpeper County. It's actually starting to make its way out of Culpeper, though, so I think we are looking pretty good here as we move into the evening hours. All of these storms moving about 35 to 40 miles per hour. Temperature-wise, yeah, lower 70s for the areas that have been rain-cooled, still in the 80s, even the 90s for a few of the spots that have remained dry. Through the evening, sky starting to clear up. We've got nothing but sunshine as we move into the middle part of the week. But what are we expecting for temperatures? I'll let you know coming up here in just a little bit.
Our top story at 4, a wanted fugitive is dead after a shootout with law enforcement on Fontaine Avenue last night.
CBS 19's Garrett Witten has more on the shooting incident. Garrett.
Rick and Carly, it happened just before 10 last night when one Albemarle County police officer and members of U.S. Marshals Task Force located a person they say had outstanding federal warrants. Police say the person was driving eastbound on US 250 bypass near Fontaine Avenue. Law enforcement attempted to pull them over, but investigators say the individual tried to get away, ultimately crashing their car on the on-ramp.
Immediately after the crash, task force officers ordered the fugitive to exit their vehicle and surrender, at which point the suspect pulled a firearm and exchanged fire with officers.
The fugitive was pronounced dead at the scene, and police aren't naming the suspect until their family has been notified. No officers were injured. The incident is now being investigated by state police as an officer-involved shooting. Live in the studio, Garrett Witten, CBS 19 News.
Thank you, Garrett. And we have a traffic alert for drivers in Augusta County. I-81 northbound at mile marker 211 is shut down because of a crash involving a tractor trailer. The truck was carrying hazardous materials. It crashed early this morning. The cleanup operation is expected to last for several hours into the evening commute. So far, one lane has been reopened.
Well, new fire safety devices are here in Charlottesville. These new safety features will be installed in roughly 300 to 400 single-family homes next week. These homes were selected during the neighborhood risk assessment. The devices will deploy a powder that prevents stove fires from spreading.
The stovetop fire stop senses a high rate of heat, well above average cooking temperatures, and then it will deploy the powder to extinguish the fire.
Now, each stove will have one or have two, one on each side, and having these in your home provides an extra sense of security, according to fire officials. Although the fire department can install these devices quickly, they're also available for purchase in retail stores and online.
And we have the final results from our CBS 19 Cares Food Line Food Drive for the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. In total, the CBS 19 Food Drive collected 924 pounds of food. This will help the food bank provide about 770 meals to our community members. Thank you so much to everyone who participated in that drive. Well, Tony Elliott delivers his first press conference of the football season. CBS 19's Preston Willett joins us in the newsroom with more. Hey there, Preston.
Hey, Carly, there's been a lot of firsts this year for head coach Tony Elliott. First game week press conference. Check, you got that one out of the way today. Just gets added to a list, but after years as an assistant down the road at Clemson, this is also Elliott's first game as a head coach in the head one with a big whistle. So along with laying out a depth chart and a game plan, Elliott will also go through the motions as a head coach on the sidelines for the first time this weekend against Richmond. Now, last Friday, the Wahoos went through a scripted dress rehearsal called the Cav Bowl. Not only did players run through game-like situations, so did Elliott. A better experience, he says, than playing Madden.
Trying to put myself in that mindset of transitioning between all of the different things that happen, and also preparing the players for those things. Don't play any video games, because I'm adamant that the video games know when they have an experienced person, because they always cheat. So I just gave up on Madden. Great game. My boys love it, the guys love it, but I'm like, man, I'm not gonna play that. I know too much. But no video games for me, but more it's just reviewing situations. So I got a little checklist of things, and I'm just running through my mind to make sure that I've at least processed those things, so that in that moment, it's not something that I'm thinking about for the first time.
I'm with him. I think by now I just know too much, too. First depth chart of the season also released today. We have more on who is starting for the Wahoos coming up in sports at 6 o'clock, including the first true freshman offensive tackle since, get this name, DeBrickashaw Ferguson. That's a long time. And a former Friday Night End Zone star also atop the depth chart. And we got more on that. Live in the newsroom, Preston Willett, CBS 19 Sports.
All right, looking forward to that, Preston. Thank you. And we are just 6 days away from the season, but only 4 away from Cavalier kickoff. Join us on Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. on CBS 19 as we preview the first season under Tony Elliott for the Wahoos. Exclusive interviews and analysis only here on CBS 19.
Now with an eye on the nation, the next window for NASA to launch its Artemis 1 test flight is Friday, after officials scrubbed Monday's attempt to send the rocket into space due to fuel leaks and engine troubles. If engineers can't resolve the issues quickly, it could be weeks before NASA can try again. The Artemis program hopes to send astronauts to settle on the moon as early as 2025.
New incentives to go green are linked to the Inflation Reduction Act signed into law this month. As it turns out, large buildings are some of the biggest emitters of greenhouse gas. Howard University, located in Washington, D.C., is teaching the next generation of architects how to design buildings with climate and the environment at their core. Professor Nihat Malou launched a first-of-its-kind class to teach strategies on decarbonizing buildings, which account for around 40% of carbon emissions from lighting to heating and cooling.
Buildings have one of the largest impacts on carbon footprint and on energy consumption. The way that we design these buildings, the way that the buildings serve us, need to also serve our future generations.
Educators hope new federal incentives help accelerate green design and are built to protect the future of planet Earth.
President Biden is hitting the road to campaign ahead of the midterm elections and is making Pennsylvania front and center.
The battle for Congress is on the line in November, with Republicans focused on the economy as they fight to win the House and Senate. Amy Kiley reports the trip comes during a week of high-profile crime news.
The answer isn't to defund the police, it's to fund the police.
The White House says President Joe Biden will push his Safer America plan, including an assault weapon ban, while in Pennsylvania today.
More cops for effective, accountable community policing.
Biden's trip follows a string of high-profile crime news this week. Atlanta officials say 26 alleged gang members have been arrested and charged with crimes targeting wealthy people, including
Calvin Ridley of our Falcons, Brad Guzan of the Atlanta United team, Marlo Hampton, who is on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and Brittany Mealy, who is the mother of Future's child.
The 220-count indictment covers 16 incidents since 2018.
We have kidnapping, we have armed robberies, we have shootings, and we have home invasions.
New York police say they're charging a juvenile with spraying 2 Jewish men with fire extinguishers. And in Central Oregon,
Mr. Surratt acted heroically during this terrible incident.
A grocery store employee is being credited with saving lives. He died trying to disarm a shooter who also killed a customer.
We need to guard against the cynicism of thinking of these attacks as regular, unavoidable things.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
And the FBI investigation into the Mar-A-Lago search affidavit deepens. The Department of Justice expected to respond today to former President Trump's request for a special master. Well, the latest on what that means.
Plus, it's jail time for the Proud Boys member who nearly came face to face with Senator Chuck Schumer during the U.S. Capitol riots along his sentences. But first, more than 100 homes in Jackson, Mississippi could be impacted by flooding as the Pearl River continues to rise. What residents and businesses are doing to prep for the flooding. That's after weather with AJ.
And that cold front we've been talking about for the last couple of days moving through the area, bringing those showers and storms. I'll tell you what we have in store for the middle and second half of the week. That's right after this.